What turned the season around for this Purdue team? They went through some struggles, kind of. They got off to the fast start, like a lot of teams, and then they got into a very difficult Big Ten, as we were talking about. They lost 3 games in a row in January, and then they lost 3 out of 4 in February before kind of turning things around, and they enter this game tonight with a 7-game winning streak.
I think the sense of urgency was a lot better for us. Attention to detail, concentration, those type of things. And obviously we weren't the best at that point, but we've got a lot better than where we were. And I think we just cleaned up a lot of different things. And obviously it's tournament time, and you have the understanding that it's win or go home. So obviously the urgency is different, the environment's different, everything's just different. You got to be on top of your stuff, because if not, then you don't get another opportunity or another shot at it. So I think it's just a mixture and combination of those things.
C.J. Cox, another fine player on this team. He's a sophomore, averages 9 points a game, has made 61 3-point shots this season, believes that this is a game in which the Boilermakers cannot start slow.
I feel like with us, I feel like mainly on the defensive end, Coach Painter and all the coaches emphasize communication. And I feel like that's something that we did a really good job at during the Big Ten tournament and also throughout March Madness so far. So I feel like continuing that with Oscar, Daniel, TK, Jack Benner, and then us guards being physical as well. And I feel like the offense will come. I feel like PJ and Sasha do a great job at teaching us everything we need to know. And it's about us executing at the end of the day.
Let's pause 10 seconds here for station identification. You're listening to Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. Wildcats Radio 1290 studios are brought to you by ICCU at iccu.com.
Along with Kelvin Ifan and JW Madden, my name is David Kelly. We're coming to you live from the Union Public House, getting you set for Arizona basketball tonight. It's the Elite Eight. It is the number 2 ranked Wildcats and the 8th ranked Purdue Boilermakers, the top 2 seeds in the West region. This is going to be the 14th all-time meeting between these two teams. And how about this again, guys? 3rd straight game, the Wildcats are going to face a team who they do not lead the all-time series against. Purdue leads the all-time series with Arizona 8-5. They've won the last 3 meetings in this series, dating back to this will be the 3rd time that the two teams have met in the NCAA tournament. Arizona won way back in 1975. Purdue got the victory back in 2007. So Wildcats behind in the series against Purdue, Arkansas, Utah State. They came out victorious against those previous 2 opponents. Let's hear from Matt Painter on how he hopes his team can defend U of A tonight without putting the Wildcats on the foul line.
Keeping the ball in front of you, not getting behind plays, and that's hard. Just with what you said is when you have quickness, at not just your point guard position, but at your 2, at your 3, at your 4, you have that positional quickness to where you can drive the basketball and get people behind plays, and now you got help. And when you have to overhelp against teams like that, it's very difficult, and you end up fouling. So trying your best not to turn it over and get quality shots so your defense can get set is first and foremost against teams of this nature. But then you also have to be physical too without fouling, or they'll just wear you down. And I think you see that in games that they play that are relatively close. You see that like at the end where it's just that spurt and they make it, because that ends up being the difference. They have a 10-0 run at some point and you're like, they won by 11. And you're like, the other team was right there, but that's what they do. They use that one spurt to knock you out. Then they have games where they just manhandle people and they shoot, loads of free throws. And so you got to be physical and not let them get to that point. But that's easier said than done, because when you get behind plays, they're going to get where they want.
Yeah, crazy when you think about the fact that Arizona Wildcats scored 109 points on Thursday night and took only eight 3-point shots. That's pretty impressive right there. All right, that is Arizona, Purdue coming up with a tip-off scheduled for 5:49.
That's our first look at the game. Brought to you by the Window Depot. The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
And don't forget, Window Depot also sponsors Arizona's top rebounding performance every night. It's the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game. Might be the Wildcat with the most rebounds. Could be the U of A star with the most impactful boards. Possibly somebody from the other team. We'll tell you the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game coming up tonight. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, the post-game show. Let's get our view from courtside. Straight ahead, we'll talk to the radio analyst for your Arizona Wildcats. Ryan Hansen joins us next from San Jose. Kelvin Ifan is here with me at the Union Public House. Stop on by, say hello. And we've got J.W. Madden back in studio. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, we kept the homeowners warm this winter. Now, let's get ready
All
for
right, got
summer.
about
It's Super
25
Tune-Up time at
minutes.
Brightway. We'll perform our 42-point Energy Saver tune-up on your air conditioning system for just $79. We'll remove years of dirt, grime, and leaves from your outdoor unit to help your system run more efficiently and reliably, all for only $79. If you have an AC that leaks refrigerant, we'll also include a leak check at no charge. And if you call this week and ask for the early bird special, you can get the entire service for just $59. Call today. If it's worth doing, do it the right way.
It's your time to shine. This is Desert Diamond Casino, the spot with Arizona's only hometown sportsbook, the hottest slots and tables, and off-the-charts energy you won't find anywhere else. Here, there's always a fun-filled, action-packed, downright unforgettable night right around the corner. So let your hair down, turn the sparkle all the way up. It's time to live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino.
An enterprise of the Tohono O'odham Nation.
Morning begins in the Rincon Foothills. Rocking K, a master-planned community and place to call home, offering distinct neighborhoods designed to fit your lifestyle. Explore the outdoors, walk the trails, visit Saguaro National Park. Enjoy at Rocking K resident events. Walk to Vail School District's newest campus, 17 model homes, 6 quality builders, move-in ready homes available from the 300s. Rocking K, designed by nature, a community by design.
Are you planning a home renovation? Getting quotes on windows, doors, cabinets, countertops, or flooring? Before you commit, visit the Window Depot and make sure you're not overpaying. The Window Depot products at the lowest prices. We're locally owned and operated, with no installers and no middlemen, so you save big. Perfect for DIYers, contractors, and homeowners. Visit a location near you or shop online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Every day is a balancing act, with work, family, goals, all asking for more. It helps to have tools that meet you at every step, and a team that will always be by your side. We're ICCU. We're a credit union that has been helping members achieve financial success since 1940. In fact, we put member success first, one by one, year after year, for 85 years and counting. Now, we're here for you, Tucson. Join us, ICCU.
Supplier pricing is happening right now at O'Reilly Chevrolet during Truck Month. That means big savings across our lineup. Take up to $4,000 off the 2026 Colorado, up to $5,500 off the 2026 Silverado HD, and up to $10,000 off the 2026 Equinox EV. Supplier pricing is going on right now, so don't miss your chance to save. Find us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or visit O'Reilly.com. O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
So, what is it that scares you the most?
The blue trucks from Essential Pest Control, Doctor. They leave bugs belly up.
I use one of those national companies.
Thanks, Doc. Those guys don't scare me.
Spring is bug season. Go blue with Essential Pest Control. We'll eliminate those bugs, bees, and termites. Buy local and stop paying too much with those national providers. Essential Pest Control is a bug's worst nightmare.
I can't sleep at night.
Essential Pest Control. Call 866-3029. That's 866-3029. Or visit essentialpest.com.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats radio broadcast. Two powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
Our Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden.
So backs back off defensively. Out top it goes Owaka. One bounce over to Deloso. Bounce it back to Owaka to the bucket. Laid up good, and he's fouled. Oh, you'll love the teamwork. And Tobey with a chance for a three-point play.
Talked about it all season long. Anthony Delorso's playmaking ability on the pick and roll, and Tobey Owaka finishes at the rim.
It's time now for us to take you down to the front row of the arena. A view from courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser serving Southern Arizona over 30 years.
First time ever, 6 players have scored 14 or more points in an NCAA tournament game for any team. First time since 1997. Arizona's had 6 guys in double figures. 1997, that was in the Elite 8 round to get the Wildcats to the Final Four. A man who has seen it all is Ryan Hansen, analyst on the Wildcats Radio Network with Brian Jeffries. Ryan, appreciate you joining us from San Jose, California. I said, Ryan, I thought that was the most complete game that the Wildcats have played all year. How did you assess it?
When I think of complete, I would like to have had your opponent scored less than 88 points in total when you look at it. But, DK, it's hard to argue what Arizona did to Arkansas. They really, I said it on the air, and I don't know if fans caught it, but they took the wood to Arkansas, and that was a very outstanding offensive performance and probably the best offensive performance by far of the year.
Why was it so easy early on to get the ball inside against this Razorback team?
Well, when you looked at Arkansas in the metrics, they were an average basketball team on the defensive end. They give up penetration. They have a thin front line, and what they do have on the backside are some rim protectors. You know, Brazil was a great leaper, but just not big enough, not strong enough. I don't think able to handle Arizona's physicality. And when you look at two-point defense, how did Arkansas stack up guarding inside the arc? They're really good guarding teams at the three-point line, but they're way below average inside the arc. So the Wildcats, that fed right into the number one strength for Arizona, and that's why you saw such a disparity.
It's your view from courtside, and it's brought to you by Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates. Kaiser has been serving Arizona now for over 30 years. Ryan Hansen, our guest, Arizona Wildcats basketball radio analyst, long time, obviously Arizona grad, former administrator under the Lute Olson era, director of basketball operations, student manager back in the day during his time at the University of Arizona. So, Ryan, what was the number I heard? 80? Is it 80 games in the postseason you've seen now?
My 80th in-person Arizona basketball game in the NCAA tournament. So I've seen pretty close. I think I've seen about 85 to 87% of all the possible games. Some of those games I was like 2 years old in 1976, so probably unfair to count that. But I'm going to count it as one that I did not get to see in person pretty much every game since the 94 run in person. So watching gave me comfort for all of those Wildcat fans that have PTSD. I've labeled Wildcat Nation as the most neurotic fan base in college basketball because of the PTSD we've all endured. It felt really nice to have a double-digit lead essentially from about the 10-minute mark in the first half for the remainder of the game. So that made game number 80 for me a little bit less stressful.
Yeah, it was nice to not have to fret at the end like we have with some of these games. But again, it's what's made this run so interesting of late anyway. The Wildcats have had to really stave off teams. We saw it against Houston, build a double-digit 14-point lead, a 15-point lead, and it gets down to 1. We saw it against Utah State, 18-point lead, and it gets down to 4. What stood out to you just about the way the Wildcats have been able to stop those runs and be able to close those games out?
Yeah, I'll start on the other side, the flip side, DK, and that is your opponents are playing for their life.
Yeah.
And they don't want to go home. My famous line to friends and family when they say, what happened during that drought? Well, the other team's trying to win too. That is my usual stock phrase. But back to your point is Arizona has not trailed for 1 second of the NCAA tournament. And they never conceded that lead to Houston in the Big 12 title game. So the Wildcats have been the most consistent team in all of college basketball this year. Never too high, never too low. Granted, they've had some pretty good runs of their own on the front end, but their ability to defend at the rim, their ability to rebound, really stabilizes themselves from putting on and allowing huge runs from opponents. But it's their mental fortitude to be able to not let that emotional tide turn over. And DK, you've been around this game a long time. You know the momentum in a building when the upset is mounting, and if you could get the lead, if you're the Cinderella or at least the higher seeded team in this case last night, Arkansas or Utah State, if you could just get the lead, boy, momentum's a crazy thing in college athletics. So the Wildcats' ability to stave that off, that might be one of the lesser discussed topics about this team is their ability to hold off their opponents and keep them at relative arm's length.
Brian Hansen, your analyst on Arizona Wildcats radio broadcast, is our guest. It's your view from courtside, and it's brought to you by Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates. Kaiser has been serving Arizona now for over 30 years. You know, Ryan, it's interesting. You never want a player to be injured. But I almost think that Koa Pete having to sit out 4 games might have been good for him, because it seems like he's a little bit different player than maybe he was. It seems like he's a lot fresher. He's got a lot more purpose, and you never know how these seasons are going to wear on a freshman. But are you seeing anything different from him that has allowed him to just seem like he's more stable at the offensive end? He's getting to his spots where he wants to score from more than maybe what we saw when he was a little uneven before that injury.
DK, I think that's a really good observation. When you watch college basketball, freshmen hit the wall at some point during the season, and you could argue Braden Burry's hit the wall out of the gate. And Koa Pete maybe hit the wall later in the year when teams started to defend him and take away his strengths. And most freshmen aren't prepared for that, because in high school, yeah, you can scout Koa, but you just don't have the physical bodies to slow him down or make him go to a counter move. And teams were starting to figure out that short roll, just don't let Koa try to bully you, throw bodies in the lane and let him bully you over. And they were starting to, I don't want to say figure him out, but defend him differently. And it just happened to me to coincide with the injury, where I think he was able to reassess offensively how he can impact the game, what he needed to be prepared for with a counter as teams scout against him. And then when he came back, he was physically in better condition. And I would say, he stepped away from the game or was pulled due to the injury. You could argue a couple of games before that, he just didn't have that spring to his jump. He didn't have the burst. And so maybe there was something going on lingering in the background that ultimately led to him sitting out. So it couldn't have happened at a better time, with all of those things converging at kind of the same point. And Arizona ended up dropping a couple games in that run. They reassess where they're at. We're not infallible. We have to fix some things. You talked about it. When you were 23-0, everyone's like, man, we need to lose a game. We need to have some adversity so that we don't experience that in the NCAA tournament and go home. It just might be written in the script that was the right thing for Arizona to happen this year. And Koa I said he was the player of the game. It could have been any one of those 6 guys that hit 14 points or more, which, by the way, pretty incredible stat that was brought out to light about being the only team in NCAA history to have that happen in the tournament. But Koa Pete, I felt, he was a man amongst boys against Arkansas.
One of the things, Ryan, we talked about all season, and you mentioned, is how poised this team was. And I want to go back to what you said during the Utah State game when they were making their run. And I believe you said something along the lines, it looks like for the first time this year, they might be a little bit nervous or a little bit scared. I don't know if that was the exact phrasing, but what did you see in that moment that you had not seen all year?
I think you're on the right track. I think I used the phrase rattled.
Rattled,
For the first time, I felt they were rattled, and that was actually a compliment to this team because every team throughout the course of a season has moments or stretches, and that was a compliment to say, wow, this team has gone this far without getting off kilter, without feeling in control of the game. And what I saw was indecisiveness. I saw guys looking around for someone else to make a play. I saw guys doing things maybe they wouldn't normally do, and they talked about that in the press conference today of doing what you normally do. And that was a response from Ivan Karchenkov about, hey, don't do something different that is not what got you here. Well, in that Utah State game, I saw Ivan Karchenkov drive into double teams and into traffic too many times. I saw Braden Burries a couple of times be indecisive with a pass that was lazy and into traffic. That's not usually how he plays. And so you got to avoid those moments and make sure that they're moments, not stretches, not sequences that then add up. And in a game tomorrow, it could be one moment, right? It could be two moments that end your season if you're indecisive, if you're rattled. So Wildcats are facing a team that is pretty much unfazed in their own right because of the experience on the Purdue side. So that ability to stay present, stay in the moment, not get too far ahead of yourself and make the right play is going to come in handy if the Cats want to get to Indianapolis.
Man, that's what was my next question for you, Ryan. Obviously, you look at Purdue, and it's a team maybe similar to Arkansas. The defensive metrics are not at the high end for them, but the fact that they have so many veteran guys that have been through this, Braden Smiths and Fletcher Lawyers, who lit us up the last time these two teams were around. What's your biggest concern when you look at Purdue?
You talked about metrics, and the one challenge is Purdue is number one right now in the Ken Palm in adjusted offensive efficiency. So what does that tell you? That means they don't make mistakes. That tells you they get into their stuff. They're a set-oriented team. And you could argue that Braden Smith, one of the most prolific assist man in all of NCAA college basketball history, his combination in that pick and roll with Trey Kaufman-Renn, they've perfected that action. And Arizona's going to have to figure out how to navigate that. I think they have the personnel to work pretty strongly against Trey Kaufman-Renn in that short roll and his back-to-the-basket abilities. But Braden Smith is super crafty with the basketball. His turn the corner around an on-ball screen, if he's stopping and popping shots, that could be challenging. And that was something he did ad nauseum in that game against Arizona 2 years ago. So the Cats are going to have to tactically do something different. But then you mentioned the prolific three-point shooting ability of Fletcher Lawyer, who I believe is the most prolific Purdue three-point shooter in their history. And there's been some good shooters from Indiana that have come through Purdue. So you look at what C.J. Cox and Fletcher Lawyer can do from the three-point line, and they were on fire as of late. Had a difficult game yesterday against Texas. Texas defended the three very well. They only made 4 threes last night and still won, which that tells you what they can do if they make 10 threes, how dangerous they are. So the game to me is going to be won on the defensive end for Arizona. If they can muster up enough stops against this very mature, I believe these three guys may end their career as the winningest 4-year seniors in the history of Purdue basketball. These guys are not going to go away easy. Arizona's going to have to earn the win.
Ryan, you've been around this game for so long. You've been to these events, like we mentioned, 80 tournament games. When you go to one of these weekends, is there somebody like you meet somebody that maybe you've never had a chance to meet before, you've never had a chance to talk to before? Like who might be somebody that fits that recently? Like, wow, it was really cool to finally get to meet him or talk to that person.
It's a funny story. Actually, it did happen post-game. We were in the bathroom, walked out after the game was over. We had just washed our hands. I looked over and we're walking out together, and it's Seth Davis, as you know, one of the college basketball experts on CBS, and he was at the San Jose Regional. And we're walking out, and he had tweeted out earlier in the game something about that flagrant 2 foul that they upgraded on Billy Richmond III that got him thrown out. And Seth Davis said, I didn't see it as a flagrant 2. So I thought I'd throw a bone his way, and he saw that I had Arizona gear on and knew I was with the broadcast team. And I said, the glad we won, but that wasn't a flagrant 2. I thought that was a bad call. And he goes, right? Am I right? So we had a nice banter about the officiating and how chippy it became. And it was a tough game to officiate in the last 10 minutes because of how chippy it got. And we both, we said, yeah, probably should have been upgraded. But at the same time, the officials were probably sending a message, I felt, to Arkansas to say, no, we're not doing this. We're not going to have it. We're going to end it right here. But kind of funny to sit there. You see a guy on TV all the time, and I'd never met Seth Davis before, and we had a chit-chat about an upgraded flagrant 2 call in the game.
There you go. Ryan Hansen, he'll be with Brian Jeffries. Ryan's 81st NCAA tournament game for Arizona in person could be one to send the Wildcats to the Final Four. Ryan, always appreciate the chance to talk to you, and we will hopefully do it again next week.
Thanks, BK. Bear down, go Pat.
That's Ryan Hansen, Arizona Wildcats radio analyst, and that's your view today.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser has been serving Southern Arizona for over 30 years. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 1 of the pregame show is brought to you by Advantage Air and Mechanical, Cactus Auto Company, Casino del Sol, Done Right Services, Drain Masters, First Chiropractic, Idaho Central Credit Union, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks, Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, Royal GMC, Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, The Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Did you know collecting sports cards is one of the fastest growing hobbies around? Whether you're looking to start or expand your collection, Showtime Cards is your ultimate destination. As one of the leading card shops in the country, they've been serving our community for over 25 years with the best in sports cards and trading card games. From rare finds to the latest releases, Showtime Cards has it all. Check them out at ShowtimeCards.com or visit them today at 5801 East Speedway. And discover why collectors everywhere trust Showtime Cards for their passion.
From offices and warehouses to retail spaces and restaurants, the right lighting transforms your environment. At Arizona Commercial Lighting, we've been proudly locally owned and operated for nearly 40 years. Our extensive inventory of in-stock lighting solutions is designed to meet both commercial and residential needs, with quality, variety, and value you won't find anywhere else. Visit us at 1436 East 17th Street or explore our offerings online at azcommerciallighting.com. Be sure to ask about available TEP rebates. Arizona Commercial Lighting, powering business through precision lighting.
Ready to update your kitchen, create a spa-inspired bathroom, or a backyard oasis? Put the equity in your home to work for you with a home equity line of credit from Hughes. Borrow between $10,000 and $250,000 and enjoy flexible terms and no prepayment penalties. With Hughes Federal Credit Union's one-rate guarantee, there's no switching rates based on your credit score. All our members get our same low rate. Learn more at hughesfcu.org/HELOC. Insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender. Certain restrictions apply.
Coach, Tommy Lloyd here with the Right Way team.
Great news. Free furnace season has been extended through the end of March. Have you been thinking about replacing your heating and cooling system this year? To spark business, we're giving away an 80% gas furnace or a heat pump air handler with the purchase of a new air conditioning system.
And we're offering up to 60 months no interest financing, manufacturer and energy efficiency rebates, and 10-year parts and labor warranty.
Call or text 520-200-2422 to book your free estimate today or visit rightwayac.com.
If it's worth doing, do it the right way.
At Goldberg and Osborne, we know Arizona. It's where we live. It's where we work. It's where we've fought and won cases for the injured since 1989. Throughout our history, we've approached every case with a single focus: you. And we've got thousands of 5-star reviews to prove it. Put us to work for you by calling 1-800-THE-EAGLE today.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or RoyalKia.com.
You know it, your neighbors know it, and let's face it,
The mailman knows it too. Your yard just isn't what it used to be. But thankfully, Dorado Rock Materials can get you, well, your yard anyway, back to what it once was, and even better. Dorado Rock Materials has just what your yard needs, from decorative rock to boulders and everything in between, brought right to you. And if you need help spreading it, we can help with that too. Dorado Rock Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
Looking for quality windows without the wait? Come to the Window Depot. We carry a huge selection of Milgard windows, in stock now and ready for pickup. Need something custom? No problem. From new construction to full home replacement, we'll help you order the perfect Milgard windows built to fit your space, style, and budget. Whether you're a homeowner or contractor, the Window Depot makes it easy to get the windows you need fast. Visit thewindowdepot.com to find a location near you and see why we're your Milgard window experts.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Bradley down into the lane, lay it up and good. Previous turnaround jump hook is good. Del Orso springs a three out there and drains it. Milwaukee takes away the rebound and slams it home.
It's a man's game.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of University of Arizona basketball continues with Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. The pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We are counting down to tip off for Arizona Wildcats basketball. This is Wildcats Radio, 1290.
Now we got a foul off the ball. Karchinkov gets knocked to the floor. Second time he's been knocked down. And if that's on Richmond, it would be his fourth.
Ivan Karchenkov was running a diagonal, not even a sprint, across the face of the free throw line and got chucked.
And I'm wondering now, Richmond has been kicked out of the game.
Personal foul has been upgraded to a flagrant 2. Personal foul.
Oh, wow.
He's been ejected from the game.
So Billy Richmond has been tossed from the game on a flagrant 2. Adding to the misery here for the Razorbacks. The frustration, and you've seen it here in the last maybe 10 minutes building.
I use the word completely unnecessary. That's exactly what it was.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Doing things the right way.
Should that have been a flagrant 2? We'll dive into that here coming up. It is hour number 2 of our pregame shows. We're getting you set for Arizona and Purdue tonight in the West Regional Final of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament. Winner goes to the Final Four in Indianapolis. We'll shine a spotlight on a cat. Koa Pete had a chance. Mackenzie Hamilton had a chance to catch up with Koa Pete. That is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. We'll check your scoreboard. One game currently in progress in the regional final round. The first game of the afternoon, number 9 seed Iowa and number 3 seed Illinois. Big Ten rivals. Second straight game that the Hawkeyes have played a Big Ten rival. DK sort of with TL, brought to you by Hughes Federal Credit Union. What would I have asked the head coach had I been in the press conference with him this week? We'll let you hear one of those questions. Your scouting report, Bobby Riddell is the analyst on the Purdue radio broadcast. We'll get his thoughts on that club right there. Jack Farrier Tire and Auto Care brings you your scouting report every broadcast. Who will be that Boilermaker that gets underneath the Wildcats' skin tonight? Your pest of the game, as presented by Essential Pest Control. Can we beat the book? Out at the Casino del Sol Sports, U of A, 5.5-point favorite tonight. Your over-under is 152.5. Keys to the game brought to you by Royal Automotive. Starting lineup presented by Rocking K. J-Dub, do you think that should have been a flagrant 2?
In a vacuum, no.
No.
But that wasn't a flagrant 2 call because of the play. That was a flagrant 2 call by the refs telling those players, cut it out.
Yeah.
Like, they had been building, there had been chippiness going on, as you heard there on that call, DK. That kind of thing, Kelvin, really is them taking control of the game, making sure that it doesn't get out of hand. They don't want to see any kind of blows thrown or something like that. Frustrations build as a team looks up at the scoreboard and realize their season may be over. You just can't have that boil over into anything serious. It was not a flagrant 2. It was, Yvonne definitely sold it. He definitely, got his shoulder into him. Not a flagrant foul by the rule of the law. However, they called that just to make sure nothing else crazy happened.
Well, Kelvin, that's it because, again, you sacrificed a guy to make that point.
Yeah, that's exactly what I didn't like, man. I think, I respect refs, man. I have to deal with them all the time in coaching, but I feel like that you wait till it's a situation to where that is called for. Maybe the one before that, I think they could have called that one, but to just already have their mind made up, the next one we're going to get them. Like, no, man, like that's not the way that go. That kid is, for the rest of his life, that's going to be, marked on his name or whatnot. So, I understand them trying to control the game. Well, call the fouls, all through the game, no matter what the score is. A lot of time the ref lets stuff go. I hate that too, J-Dub. When you're losing and you get fouled, it seems like the refs don't call it. They're like, hey, let's just let the clock roll. Let's get out of here. But those guys want their fouls just as well. So, it's an unfortunate situation, but, they didn't do anything else after.